All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Dorothy Morgan, professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. And throughout these 3 months, which I'm talking about is April, May, and June, you'll be able to go to my website and read the forecast for the new moon, full moons. But in the meantime, let me give you some information. I do have my notes in front of me, so please forgive me for looking down, but I don't have it all in my memory, even though I've been doing this for a while today. So I want to talk about April, May, and June, and this is for you who are Libra or those with Libra rising. All right, so let's start off with April 4th. Now on April 4th, we have a full moon, lunar eclipse at 14 degrees of Libra. This is your sign. So this means that there is some type of shift, happening, especially for you Libras. Aries as well, but I'm talking to Libra. I already talked to Aries. So I want you to think about what was going on for you back in October. Because back on October 8th, there was also an eclipse in Libra. It was at 13 degrees. So basically, in essence, it's pretty much in the same location out there in the solar system, which means it's in the same location in your personal chart. Where is that going on in your chart? So it's all about relationships, and it's all about deciding and understanding, and, well, we'll wonder at first, but what is going on in your relationships? Something started in October. There is some sort of action or completion at this point in time. When I say completion, you know what that word means, but the action is like maybe something started in October, never really got off the ground. You might have an opportunity to restart that process or that relationship or whatever it is in early April with this eclipse. Now, it's a full moon eclipse. It's typically about releasing and letting go, but going on in your first house, this is all about what you need in the dynamic of a relationship. So when all is said and done, it's a big relationship spring for you who are Libras, especially with this in your first house. All right? There's a lot of information there for you, so slow it down and take notes if you need to. All right, let's move on. We've got 3 months to go here. See if we can fit this in 20 minutes. So I have April 8th is the next astrological thing that I want to talk about. Jupiter stationary, finally moving direct. It's been retrograde for months and months and months. It moves direct and forward at 12 degrees of Leo. This is, again, the same as it was back in mid-September. So another opportunity for you to look back and figure out what was going on for you in mid-September. Very similar activities are going on now. Something might have been expanding quickly and with a lot of speed, or bigger than you had anticipated back in September. And at this point, while that planet's been retrograde up until now, up until April 8th, there's been a lot of expansion. But the last couple of months was about, kind of pulling all that back in. Now that planet's moving forward again as of April 8th, we'll slowly be able to pick up the pieces of anything that's been left on the wayside. And you'll be able to see where you may have expanded too much in September. And I know we're going back months and months, 6-7 months now, but that's the whole point of the retrograde planets, no matter whom it is. It's given us opportunities to reevaluate and see what we did and what we've left behind and what we should leave behind. Let's move on. April 16th. Pluto. Now Pluto is stationary. It will go retrograde though at this point, and that will be in your 4th house, and it's in the sign of Capricorn. So Pluto moving through that Capricorn energy for years and years now. But when it is stationary and then to either retrograde or direct, this time it is to a retrograde motion. When the planets do that, especially the outer planets, it gives us an opportunity for months and months to see what's going on in that department. The department meaning what house it's in for you. So if you have Libra rising, it will most likely be in your 4th house of home and family. That is also the karmic debt that we bring in with us this lifetime, or the lineage that we have through our family. Things like that will be going through some sort of evaluation over the next number of months. Doesn't mean it's a critical situation, it just means it's time for an evaluation. We all have these things throughout life. It's just your turn right now. Next, I want to talk about April 18th. April 18th, we do have a new moon at 28 degrees of Aries. So the sun and the moon are in the same location. With that being said, in Aries energy is all about initiating action. For you, it's in your 7th house of partnerships. Kind of goes along with the eclipse from April 4th. The sun is in the 7th house, partnerships, the moon in the 1st house where the eclipse was on the 4th of April. So defining what it is that you need in a relationship. And if that's the case for you, this new moon can help you within 2 weeks of the eclipse, by the way. April 18th is only 2 weeks away from April 4th. That means that the 7th house that gets triggered with this new moon, you can set new goals in the relationships in regards to how you want it to be. And it's okay to define how you want it to be. That's all right to do. Feels selfish to some people, but we need to be happy in the relationships as well, correct? Correct. Move on to May. May 3rd, we have a full moon at 13 degrees of Scorpio. That is in your 2nd house of the things that you value. That full moon in Scorpio is all about letting go, really letting go of something that you've been hanging on to for too long. Could be a hobby that you've turned into a career choice, and it's just not working, and you need to back off with that and maybe go get part-time work, whatever. It could be something in that regard, or your values around things that you have, things that you own, is going through some sort of shift and change. That 2nd house is what we value and how we earn our money through using our skills and talents. So you might need to just reevaluate that and not let go of anything. You're going to have to decide how it feels to you, but that's the overall energy of a full moon in your 2nd house in the sign of Scorpio. May 7th, Venus moves into the sign of Cancer. That's in your 10th house, and that 10th house is the area of your career and how you're known out in the world, your public image, your place in society. When Venus moves into Cancer, that does mean that your home and your family and being a caring and nurturing person is very important for the world to see in you. This is energy is activated with the with the ingress basically of Venus moving into Cancer. May 11th, Mars moves into Gemini in your 9th house. That 9th house is that area of higher education, expanding our awareness through experiences and through living and through meeting people from other countries, so we're able to be educated culturally as well. And when Mars moving into Gemini, there's a lot of communication and a lot of activity in that department for you. So focus in for the next 5 to 6. Actually, Mars will stay in this sign for 7 weeks. So over the next 7 weeks, while Mars moves through your 9th house, could very well be you're just very much interested in learning something new or expanding your knowledge in something that you already have, and you just want to get more education in that regard. Something quick and easy. Gemini isn't always about long-term goals. They're about short-term goals, but the 9th house is about long-term goals. So you have the dual energy of that, of Gemini in Sagittarius' natural home. That's an educational lesson there for you. On May 17th/18th, depending on what coast in the United States you live on, that new moon is at 26 degrees of Taurus. It is in your 8th house. That 8th house is about outside resources, and when we have a new moon in that area, that means you're able to set some goals in getting some financial support behind you. So it's outside resources, money we get to use that is not necessarily earned. It doesn't mean doesn't have to be paid back, but it's not necessarily earned. It also highlights the fact that if you owe taxes, that might be something that comes up right now for you. It's the middle of May, so if you're in the United States and you haven't paid your taxes yet, you might want to be you're late. If you haven't paid them by now, and it will come up. So, but it might not be that for of course it's not going to be that for everybody, but outside resources is a focus and what you value in the support that you get from outside resources. Lots of times it's spousal support, whether it's the husband or the wife who's earning the bigger income, and that's the income that supports the family. It's spousal income as well. And even inheritances fall in this category of the 8th house. So there's something going on there for you, Libra, in that regard. So keep an eye out for it. On May 18th, we also have Mercury going retrograde at 13 degrees of Gemini. Again, this is in your ninth house. Your ninth house is a focus, Libra, for May and June. The focus just meaning is like you're really needing to pick up some new knowledge and expand what it is that you know. When Mercury is retrograde in Gemini, it's going to be retrograde this year in every one of the air signs. So that just means we need to get out of our heads a little bit more, especially as a retrograde planet. When Mercury is retrograde, we need to slow down, unlike what I'm doing right now. I am a Gemini. And, take a breath. And we can slow down and maybe not think things through quite so much. All right, try experiencing things. This is going on in your ninth house, and that area of the chart really is about expanding our awareness, but not necessarily in an analytical way. I mean, we're always going to learn. You get me there. It's more about experiencing knowledge. So that retrograde of Mercury in Gemini will be going on till June 11th in that sector. And once it moves forward on June 11th, then the energies of the choices that you're making as far as maybe going back to school or picking up something new for yourself will work out for you. And will just be easier for you to make that forward movement, just like the rest of us. On the 21st, we also have the Sun entering Gemini, again, that ninth house. So that ninth house is definitely active this month. And you even have a new moon there coming up on the 16th. I'll get to that in a sec. So when the Sun moves into Gemini in that ninth house, the Sun will highlight that, all right? Highlight the things I've just mentioned about the ninth house. Expanding your awareness, foreign people, foreign travel, foreign information. It's just learning through experiences. Now, I'll move to June. June has the full moon at 11 degrees of Sagittarius in your third house. And so you kind of have a chart that's kind of opposite itself. So overall in life, if you've got Libra rising, basically what happens here, if you have Libra rising, then you have all the houses have switched positions. The natural rulership of all of the houses has switched positions. And with that being said, that means throughout your life, you'll feel this push-pull or this tug of war between what is and what you want. And in every category of your life, you will feel this tug of war. And just realize that's just part of your nature. It's not the end of the world. Don't make it bigger than it is, but it's part of your nature. So go with it and allow it. That makes you able to kind of be on the fence. Sometimes it's hard to be on the fence, but it allows you to be on the fence so you can see both sides of a story before you make a decision. So with this full moon on June 2nd in your third house, again, in Sagittarius, it's all about, well, what am I learning? And I want you to, that Sag energy is about having fun and exploring and trusting that you know the truth and telling the truth and being the truth and living the truth. In that third house, which is all about communicating, especially to siblings, cousins, and people that you're close to in your everyday living. That's what that full moon focus will be about. June 5th, Venus moves into the sign of Leo, and when it moves into the sign of Leo, that goes into your 11th house. It's a very social area. And so that makes you the rock star, so to speak. So when Venus moves into Leo, we're going to look beautiful. We're going to be hot. We're going to have a great tan. This is for you, Libra, who has that Venus, that Leo energy in your 11th house, because you have Libra rising. So when Venus does move in there, you know, you're just going to be the ticket. Everybody wants to go out with you. Everybody wants to hang out with you, find out what you are doing. So it will be a very active month for you, socializing with your friends and being part of the groups that you have interests in. June 11th, I mentioned that Mercury goes direct at that point in your ninth house, so things will start to move forward if you've been a little stuck on that education piece I already mentioned. June 14th, Saturn does move back into the sign of Scorpio. It will be in the sign of Scorpio until September 18th. It's going to be retrograde for half of that time. So on June 14th, Saturn moving back into Scorpio, which means it moves back into your second house and out of your third house. So again, you get a chance for the next few months, you know, from June, July, so June to July, August, and September. So for 3 months, Saturn back in your second house will help you to redefine for the final time. You have to redefine what it is that you value. And it's not that you're going to redefine everything, because for 2.5 years, Saturn's been in that sector of your chart. But now that it's moved out, but we'll sneak back in for just a few months June to September gives you that final piece of what it is that you want to evaluate as far as your value system goes. Values change, and we all get to go along with it. Well, we should. We need to. Change is good, even though not everybody... Change is the only consistent thing in the world. June 21st, the sun is entering the sign of Cancer. Of course, that's the summer solstice. That's your 10th house. On June 24th, we also have Mars moving into Cancer in your 10th house, and that's your career sector. So there is this summer, starting on the summer solstice, you have a very busy summer in front of you, looking and focusing in on what your career and is all about and how you want the world to see you now. So that is your main focus starting on June 21st, and that will be through the whole summer. And I'm going to leave you with that for now. Thank you very much for listening. I know I talked really fast, but that's the way it goes. Hit pause. Go to my website, nhastrologer.com, and as these full moons and new moons come up throughout the calendar year, I will post the written forecasts, all about them, giving you much more information on the full moon, new moon that I have right here. I do have a weekly forecast that is part of a membership. Go to my website and check that out. The link is right below the video here in the description of the video, so you can just click on that and go find me. Thank you much. If you would like to have a private session with me, I'm always available by phone or Skype. Thank you, and please share, nhastrologer.com. Find me on Facebook, Dorothy Morgan Astrologer. And I'm just creating a Pinterest thing too. I don't know about that. We'll see. All right. Namaste.